Hello, Dogophiles. Amanda here with my handy dandy sidekick Murphy, and we're just going to talk a little bit about crates and crating. Crates are very, very important for so many reasons, and I know that some people don't feel very comfortable with crates, but if we think about paralleling it with living in your house or having your bedroom, because that's essentially what it is. We want to condition a space which our dogs know is safe and that they are protected in. This is really important when we think about emergency preparedness, because in an event, we're going to be stressed and our dogs are going to be stressed, and we want to make sure that they have a place where they feel safe. Not all dogs love crates, but we're going to do this demonstration based on crates for a number of reasons. First of all, because it is the preferred safe place for most dogs because they're portable and they're quite universal. They can be moved around easily, and they're also different kinds of crates. For this particular crate, it's a solid crate. It is probably the safest kind of crate for transportation because it has that solidness to it. And also for dogs that are movement triggered, like this little terrier here, being in here, he doesn't have to watch the world go by, which means that visually it's also safer for him because he's less likely to be triggered. I can also put a blanket over it to help eliminate any further visual component to it. Wire crates are also good, but the dogs can see movement outside and it may not be as relaxing for them. Murphy. For those who have dogs that like to travel in the car but not in a crate, you can basically consider your car as a gigantic crate, which is very, very useful should you go to a reception center. You've got a place to keep your dog that they're comfortable. So let's start with the process of training for a crate. We can start using a boundary or a bed or something, or we can go directly with the crate. It depends on your dog. Just because it's more visually easy, we're going to start with the boundary, and then I'll show you how we transfer that to a crate. So Murphy actually knows boundaries well, but we're going to pretend he doesn't. Break. The power is very much in that release word you heard me say, because that's what helps us build duration. Now, we're going to start by shaping them towards the bed. And by shaping, I mean we're going to reward approximations. So we want to start by teaching our dog a marker word. And that marker word means you did the right thing. It's a form of communication and it's very powerful. So what I'm going to do is go and then feed him. Now, some people like to use the word YES. The only problem with using that word is that it tends to be used quite commonly in language. You can also use a special word like pop. All right, a word that we don't necessarily use that much. Pop. Or start by conditioning it by making the sound and then feeding them. My timing wasn't very good there. You can also use a clicker. The only thing about a clicker, though, is it can be really exciting for the dog, and what we're trying to do is build a calm behavior. So what I'll do now that he knows what the marker means, I'm going to wait for him to get close to here. I might even give him a hint, and then I'm going to feed him. If he's too close, I'm going to toss a piece of food away to reset him. He thinks we're doing something else. So I'll give him a hint. He looked at the bed. That was good enough for me. Get it? I'm going to say get it when I throw the food away. You can even lure them once or twice. And then toss it away. Once they're getting onto the bed, I'm going to feed to the bed. Ideally, if they lie down, that's great. We get to choose what behavior we want, and again, we'll shape it. So if he's standing, I'm going to start by just feeding him, and then break. That's my release word. Good boy. Or you can always say, get it. And your dog shouldn't get off the bed until you use that word or that series of words. So Murphy's more advanced, so I'm not actually feeding him on the bed right now. But when you're starting out, you're going to feed, feed, feed. Get it. Feed, feed. Now he knows that I want him to be there, so I don't have to mark it all the time. Get it. Good boy. Feed. Eventually I fade out the feeding to the bed, and I'm just going to say, get it. And the reward will actually be in that release word, get it. So now we're going to use the crate. So, get it. And the only difference between the crate and the boundary is that this has various sides to it. You can see he already has value. And we'll do exactly the same thing. Watch the door, because we don't want them to have a bad experience with the door, so wedge it in place or hold it in place. Get it. And then I'm going to feed, and I'm feeding to the crate, so I'm dropping it on the floor of the crate. Get it. Good boy. So you'll start this the same way that you would with the bed. So you'd start out by shaping them going in, using the marker word to tell them that they're getting closer and closer and closer until they're in. Once they're going into it, you'll feed to the bed or to the bottom of the crate and develop your release word, which can be the same release word that you used for the bed. Get it. And then we eventually fade out the feeding to the crate. Get it. And then we're going to layer it up a little bit more. I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to feed when the door is closed. And I'm going to feed as far back in the crate as possible. So feed here or here, not to the front, because we want the dog in the back. I open the crate door, and I stop feeding. I close the crate door, and I feed. And notice I'm not latching it. I'm going to do this in little bits. And then I'm going to open it, and I'm going to stop feeding. And if your dog looks like they're not comfortable, then give them the release cue. Get it. Just to give them a bit of a break. There we go. Good boy. And every once in a while, ping pong back and forth. And remember to make it a good thing, so don't be afraid to feed. Now I'm going to latch it, and I'm going to do the same thing. I've latched it closed, and I'm going to feed, and I'm going to feed, and I'm going to feed. And I'll gradually slow down how fast I'm feeding. I'm going to open the door up. There's no food coming anymore. I'm going to close it again, and we're going to feed, and I'm going to slow down how fast I'm feeding now. We're also looking for our dogs to take a position of down or a more comfortable position if possible. And the reason why is because with that lying down usually comes a more relaxed emotional state. And although we can't change our dog's emotional state, we can select behaviors that are associated with them. It's something called power poses. Right, buddy? Yeah. There we go. And so now I'll reward him there. It might take a little while for you to get there. We've incorporated a lot of training here in this short period of time. It might take you a month to get here. And don't worry about it, because I've given you about a month's worth of work already. Play the games for no longer than 3 minutes. It might be 1 minute. It depends on what your dog's attention span is. The learner, which is your dog, the learner always chooses the speed of progression. We can't force learning, just like your grade 3 teacher couldn't force you how to do math. We can't force our dogs, especially if we want them to be relaxed in here. So we will work it little bit by little bit, layer by layer. And if our dogs struggle at one layer, then we're just going to bring it back. We'll go back 1 step and just keep it positive and keep it fun. Keep sessions super short if your dog is having problems paying attention. And if they seem to sort of clock out on you, you've either played for too long or you're just kind of being too boring. Free. Always remember to incorporate your release, because that's what will keep them interested, but it also is what builds the duration. Good boy. Now that we've gotten this far, we want to start adding changes in our position. So I'm going to stand up and I'll feed. I'll step away and then I'll come back and I'll feed. And again, if our dog looks like they're uncomfortable or stressed out in any way, then I will release them for a moment. Give them a choice. Break. And if for some reason your dog wanders off, well, we've probably played too long. So don't worry about it. Just remember that for the next session and just keep it a little bit shorter. If you utilize your dog's daily dinner, it gives them a little bit more motivation to play this game, or use a slightly higher value treat, but don't use something that's too valuable because otherwise they'll get excited about it, and we're trying to maintain a calm demeanor here. So now I'm going to get up and I'm going to actually walk to the other end of the room, and eventually I'll actually leave the room, but I'll build this up gradually until finally I can actually leave him in his crate for extended periods of time. All right, well, have fun with this. I have given you about at least a month's worth of work to do here. Have fun with it. Remember, it's a game, and the more fun we have with it, the more our dogs will enjoy it, and the more we will enjoy it as well. So take care and have a great time.